Good morning. Good morning. Let's have a look at some things on the charts. Okay, let's have a look. CVD, CVD, CVD. Okay, let's have a look at the charts. Pull back, a bit of pull back. Okay. Yesterday I was a little bit bearish in the morning because the price had been able to lose some key levels that I was interested in, and then it just bounced back. So what does that mean? Well, we were down here yesterday morning, and let me think where we were. We're here where I drew this line, and my short idea was back into the point of control to short. I didn't take the short, and it would have been fine because when I marked it off, it did go back in and then go down. So even though it didn't go sideways, it went up and then down. So that was a viable trade. I didn't take it. Then what happened was that there was a swing failure of these lows, and as the price came back above, it pushed right up through the point of control, effectively ignoring the point of control. And as I did a volume range pull on this local range in the lows, you can see that the price has found support on the value area of this local range. Okay, we've put in quite a bit of volume here at this level here. The point of control is still relatively speaking in the high of this range, but it has held a support. You see that it's holding a support. Now we're above the value area. The value area is holding as support. So we've had a little bit of a rejection from this lower range, and at the moment we're kind of ranging above support. That's what's happening right now. We have this trend line. We've kind of front run the trend line a couple of times here and here, but you can see that this trend line is acting as resistance. So we are in a little bit of a tightening range above this local range value area. It's kind of where we are right now. So let me just get rid of this and this. Get rid of some things. Breakout to breakout. That was my fake out to breakout idea. So it's still possible, but I'll get rid of brush strokes so I don't get any kind of bias from my previous analysis. Okay. I'm going to update the overall range to see if there's any changes in volume. Okay. See the point of control has moved down a little bit. See that? That's what you want to see. You want to see the point of control move down. The value area low is still the same. Value area is down slightly tightened range. And then the point of control is a little bit lower. Okay, that's the overall range. We have this local range down here. And obviously we have this higher range. And we're kind of in between these two ranges at the moment. We're in between this lower range, in between this previous higher range. We're above the overall point of control. And we're holding this value area as support at the moment. The value area high is acting as support, as you can see. All right. We're kind of following this trend line. We are forming a little bit of a some kind of local triangle pattern here. See that? There's something going on locally here. And then obviously I have this higher, this bigger, this larger triangle idea. So it looks like we're within a triangle right now. Good morning, NSLHD. Been some time since here last though. You're welcome. Happy to have you. Just having a look at Bitcoin. Just trying to observe what's happening and then seeing if I can find any kind of clues as to future price action. Good morning, Zahid Shah, welcome. Looks like we're within a triangle, within a larger triangle. We're holding above this local value area. We're over the overall range point of control. Yesterday I was slightly biased, bearish biased, and so in my experience, when you're biased bearish and the price goes up, then you're wrong. You have to change your bias quickly. Yeah, it's not good to hold bias and the price goes the other way and for the bias to continue. Yeah. So yesterday morning I was a bit biased to the downside, simply because after we had this nice pump, we lost the value area high and I didn't like that price action. We'd found resistance of the value area high. I didn't like that price action. And also we had lost the overall point of control. Okay. When you're losing levels, you have to change your bias to bearish. And then when you reclaim levels, you have to re-evaluate your bias. Yeah. So losing levels is a sign of weakness. Reclaiming levels is a sign of strength. And even though we're potentially ranging around these levels, the fact is that you have to go with strength and weakness. Yeah. That being said, it looks like we are now forming some kind of tightening range around the point of control. You see that? So this is the overall point of control. This is the tightening range. And this will culminate sometime this weekend. So you see, eventually we're going to break out of this triangle. And we have to try and figure out what happens next. Well, we're still above the point of control. So as far as I'm concerned, as long as we're above the point of control, I'm going to remain bullish. And if you see how this triangle is forming, we are on support. You know, we're not under resistance. We're on support. This is support here. This is all support. This is support. These are support lines. Okay. So even though people might be looking at this triangle and feeling a little bit bearish now, just because we're at the top part of the triangle, it looks like the price wants to turn. We're turning into support lines. We're turning into support lines. Okay. I have to save. I have to reload my layout because I've just had a problem. So annoying. Let me try this again. Go back there. Yeah. So I'm not crazy bearish right now, even though the price is pulling back a little bit. The halving is in less than 15 days now. For me, the CCI is behaving in a bullish manner because we've come from the top, we're coming to the bottom, and the price is still here. It's not all the way down. The price is still here. My pen went to orange. Where does that? Save it. So yeah, the CCI is going down. It's made a lower low. The price is making a higher low. CCI making a lower low. Excuse me. All right. Looking at the daily time frame. We've got this kind of red hammer. It's got a really nice buying tail, nice wick on the bottom. We've clearly rejected from lower levels. We've closed much higher, but we're still kind of into resistance as well. That's the other thing. You know, this whole top part is resistance. We're kind of pushing into resistance. Now we're having a little bit of a pullback, but we're on support lines. We're on support levels. The price could slow down here. We have the 3-day candle that closed yesterday. And I actually like that candle because we were able to close above 50% of the previous candle body. It went all the way up, closed above the 50% mark, which I like. And now we're just kind of trying to see what happens. Trying to see what happens now. Does it go all the way down to collect liquidity to go up, or does it just find support here to go up? That's a good question. And then when you look at the weekly candle, well, it's really looking a lot better than it was before, because the price went all the way down, came into this kind of horizontal level, and now it's back above the weekly level. And that's kind of what you want to see. You want to see a reaction. Bearishness would have been, there would have been no reaction if it was bearish. The fact that we're trading back above the weekly level now is a reaction. You know, the price has been bought up, so the bears are unable to push the price down. That's what you're looking for. You're looking to see how the bears are, how strong they are, and how they are able to move the price. And you have to do the same thing with the bulls, and how they're able to move the price. So yeah, the 12-hour candle was quite nice, but you see there was a reaction from the top as well. You see, that's a reaction. So that's a reaction into the top of that candle. We're above this value area high. We're finding support. If the price holds here, then I think that's going to be quite good for the bulls. If the price drops right back down, that's not going to look bullish, is it? It's going to look quite bearish if the price goes all the way back down. Yeah. What you want is the price to hold here. We want the price. What the bulls want is for the price to stay in the highs. We want to attack the highs as bulls. We want to push up, and we don't want the price to go down. And so when you're forming a little bit of a triangle here, you're not going to break the top of the triangle if the price is in the lows. You're only going to break the top of the triangle if the price is in the highs. And you have to attack the highs. You have to keep on attacking the highs until you eventually get a breakout. Yeah. So it's actually not bearish right now. It's not bearish because we are in the highs of this triangle idea. Let me just zoom it in a little bit so we can see what it looks like on the lower time frame. We're above the value area high. We're above the range point of control. We're above the local point of control. We're in the highs, trying to attack this top part of this triangle, trying to. I mean, for all intents and purposes, this is quite bullish. We are making lower highs. That's an observation. Yeah. So if you see these highs on the local time frame, you can see how we're making lower highs. We are making higher lows. See that? And I think what we want to happen for bullishness is to squeeze up. And actually what we really want to do is get back above this previous all-time high. That's going to be really important. And until we do that, no, we're still going to struggle. I see an inverse head and shoulders pattern here forming as well. Don't know if you see that. I'll show you. Although the right shoulder is a bit weak. See that? Yeah. It would be nice if we can go up now and break that pattern, huh? Somehow. Break it, push up, and then hold as support. That would be really bullish if that was to happen. And if you do break out from this triangle to the upside like that, then you're at the very least, you're heading to this level here. And if you have enough follow through, you're heading to the highs. With that kind of breakout, you're definitely going for these highs here. And then you could probably, if you can get there, you could probably squeeze up to the highs there. That would probably be what could happen if we break out to the top side. The key would be to flip this level here, this previous all-time high, into a support zone. That's what you need to do. You need to flip this area into support. And the danger is that you break out and then you just swing failure this pivot here and you just head back down like that. That's the danger. And that would be a failed breakout. It would be a failed breakout, and actually that would be quite bearish. That would be very bearish. Yeah, you have the same idea to the downside, you have the same idea to the upside. Okay, if you fake out, that's really bearish. If you break out, that's bullish. If you fake out, that's bearish. So you don't want to lose this pivot once you clear it. So you can easily draw a swing failure there. I'm going to mark it off as SFP. Okay, you'd only take a short if there was a reaction. That would be a failed breakout into resistance. There is resistance there. You have a swing failure, which would be your entry, but you have this previous all-time high. You have a local value area low, which is the local range. And if I was to do some kind of fib pull from top to bottom, the golden pocket is just underneath it. Not 100% aligned as you would want. It'd be much better if it was better aligned. It's not 100% aligned, which means it may not be as strong as one might hope or expect for a short. So therefore you have to see the reaction. The reaction would be a swing failure like that. Yeah, if you see a swing failure, as soon as the price comes underneath that level, you've got your invalidation, and you'd be hoping to try and trade this back down to the value area high of this lower range. But if you get back into the triangle after you break out, that's a crazy sign of weakness. That's not very strong. And for all intents and purposes, you're probably going to start losing levels and head further down. Okay, it's possible. I don't know how long it will take. Usually shorts are quite fast, so you may get like a big sell-off if that was to happen. If you get a rejection from there back into this triangle, it would be very bearish. Yeah, so you'd actually probably be heading much lower, but you'd have to take profit at the first area of support that you encounter, which is probably going to be this value area high as you come back down. It's not a crazy short because the only thing that you have is this swing failure into this kind of area of interest. We've already tested it once. It's already rejected once here. If it rejects again, you could take that short. But the more times you test these levels, the weaker they become. So you have to bear that in mind. And also you are breaking out of this, potentially, this inverse head and shoulders. And the context is key. You know, we're at the beginning of a bull market. Bitcoin halves in 15 days. People may not sell. They may not sell. They may just buy. So only on a reaction there. But actually, if you break out of this head and shoulders idea, it's like a really ugly right shoulder, but you know, it could work. Are there long potentials here? Well, we're making higher lows, and that's the problem. So you kind of want to continue that idea. We don't want to take the swing failure of these lows, because that would change the way this lurks, and that would be an entry. If you had a swing failure of a low, that would be an entry. Let me just rename this to short. TH. Call that. It's quite hard to long like here. The best long would be to take the liquidity, but yeah, that would be the best long. You are making higher lows though, so you kind of want to keep that pattern. You don't want to lose that. That's quite bullish to make higher lows. It'd be better to long down here. The problem with longing down here is you're back in the range, back underneath this point of control. You know, so you don't really want to lose those levels now. Now that we've reclaimed them, we're finding support. We don't want to get back into the range. That's not good. What we really want to do is put enough of volume here now and then move up. Okay. Yeah, unless you were to long higher up, longing the breakout, like a breakout long. Something like that. Get back above this pivot, flip it into support for a push up. Not sure which one, because you don't have high volume nodes either. But if you were to see this, you could long, because you'd have an invalidation and you'd be looking for higher prices. But you also have to be careful, because if you swing failure, you're back into a short. Yeah, so you have to be careful with that. But I mean, I think that would be the easiest way to long, because you're just back testing a pivot that's flipped into support on a breakout of this triangle. It'll be easy to see what's happening, and then you'd be easy to see if there was a rejection. Yeah, if there was a swing failure of that pivot there, then that's a rejection, and you just close your long, and that would be it. You wouldn't care about that trade anymore. You wouldn't make profit, but you wouldn't make a loss, because you saw a swing failure. You'd be like, okay, the long is not, it's hitting resistance, you'll be out. Yeah, but then the chances are that you squeeze up, and then you could take your profit. You're back into this higher range. That's quite bullish. If that was to happen, this was to happen, that'd be really bullish, because you're just reclaiming this higher range. Now you're back into this higher range. That's really bullish. If we were to get that kind of behavior on a breakout of an inverse head and shoulders of this top of this triangle, breaking out and reclaiming levels, this previous all-time high, back into the higher local range, that's bullish. That's what you want to see for bullish price action. Yeah. So that long would be really good if that happened. Breakout long, something like that. If you saw something like that, you could long that and you'd have a really easy invalidation. And you just have to be aware that you could get invalidated by a swing failure of the pivot there. Okay, now I am in a long at the moment on Slerf because I see that Bitcoin is showing a little bit of strength, and I see that Slerf is, for me, Slerf has bottomed out, and so naturally if Bitcoin goes up, Slerf is going to go up like significantly more. So it's almost like I'm leveraged long on Bitcoin at the moment with quite a small invalidation. So I am long at the moment, but this is, I'll be looking to take this long too. I'm also long in Bitcoin at the moment. Let me have a look at my position. Let me have a look. Position. Oh, I've risked 1% and I'm basically not made any profit yet. Now it depends, because if this continues and we start, if this continues and I continue to see, if I don't see what I want to see in a reasonable space of time, I will close my trade. I won't just hold on to trades for a long period of time. Yeah, I want to see the price move in my direction and the direction of my interest. Yeah, if I'm longing, I want to see the price go up quite quickly. Yeah, relatively quickly. If I'm shorting, I want to see the price go down relatively quickly. I don't want to be stuck in a trade waiting and hoping for the price to go in my direction. I'm not cool with those trades. I'm not happy about trades where, let's say I'm long now, and after 2 days I'm still not in profit. I'll close that trade. That's not a good trade. If you're short and after 2 days you're still not in profit, or you're just basically teetering at break even, that's not a good trade. Yeah, you want to be in profit quite quickly so that you can take profit, and then so that you can change your position to a break even on the runner. So you've taken your, you want to get that quite fast, quite quickly. So I'm not looking for this price action to hold here for a long period of time. I want to see a breakout. Yeah, I'm biased long. I want to see a breakout. If I don't see a breakout, I'll be closing my long and I'll be reevaluating. I'll be looking for something like a sign of strength or a sign of weakness. NSLHD long on Bitcoin and all in on Rio and QNT. All right, Rio is setting up very nicely. Rio, have you checked out TRVL? I've checked out Rio. You checked out TRVL? You like real world assets? Have you checked out TRVL? Okay, so Bitcoin is basically holding support at the moment. We're in a little bit of a triangle within a triangle. Now, if we start losing levels, I'm not going to be cool with that. I'm not going to be shorting aggressively because I'm not going to be shorting with into support. We have one support level there, another one there, and another one here. I'm not going to be shorting into support, but I'm going to see that as weakness. If we start losing levels, I'll be seeing that as weakness. And if I start seeing weakness, I'll be shorting the back tests into resistance. Yeah. So if we lose this level now, then we come back up into the value area high, I'll short that. And if we lose that, I'll short that. And then it's probably going down much further. Again, you could get the same situation. You could get a breakdown to swing failure this low just to head right back up. It's very possible. Like Bitcoin can do that. Yeah. So even though you're seeing weakness, you have to be careful when you see swing failures of key pivots. Yeah. If you see a swing failure of a key pivot and you're in a short, then you have to take your profit quickly. Okay. You don't hold on to that because the price could easily reverse and you'll lose your unrealized gains. even though you're right, you'll end up with a bad trade. Yeah. So that's the caveat when you're taking longs or shorts. If you suddenly see a swing failure off a key pivot level, take your profit and make sure that trade is a free trade. Okay. So, but at the moment, if I'm not seeing weakness, if we start losing levels, I'll be thinking about shorting. Because we're holding support levels, I'm actually slightly biased to long at the moment, and it may not come. And if it doesn't come, we still range here. I'll probably close my long or I'll scale back, because I'm not just going to hold a long hoping. I'm going to be looking for a sign, like a sign of strength. I'd probably prefer to take a breakout long in that situation than just hold and hope for the price to go up, because the price could just as easily go down. Okay, although now I'm biased long because we're above support. Okay, and this isn't bearish consolidation, because we've come up and now we're above support. If you were coming down and you're on support, that's bearish. But because we're coming from down to up and we're on support, that's bullish. And it's bullish because we're consolidating underneath resistance from a downward, coming from a downward direction to the upward direction. All right. That's kind of my Bitcoin analysis for today. And when I look at other tokens, I'm seeing that a lot of other tokens have come into support areas as well. And so even though TRVL is my token of choice, I'm very much interested in Slerf for many reasons. And I've been tracking Slerf since the beginning of its launch. So let me just have a look at Slerf. And so yesterday last night I was looking at Slerf, and I was thinking to myself, this doesn't look too bad. And so one thing I liked about Slerf yesterday when I was looking at it was that we had managed to get back above this pivot that I marked off, and we'd managed to hold it as support. You see here, we've held it as support. When you see that gives me confidence to take a trade. So I'm in a trade, and all my invalidation is low. But if I suddenly see the price losing my support, I will close the trade, take a loss. Okay, I'm not expecting that to happen, because it'll probably go lower if that happens. At the moment, we've flipped this back into support. So that's kind of what you wanted to see. I didn't get the best entry, but I like to scale in. I don't like to just jump in. And so I'm okay with that, because it's really not about your entry. It's about your invalidation and your risk, how much you're willing to risk in that invalidation. If this is the bottom, then you've got one of the best trades here right now. We are still into resistance. There is still a bump and run trade potential if we can break this out of trend line. But if this is the bottom, if this happens to be the bottom, then you have literally the best trade on your hands right now. Okay, because you have such a small invalidation. It's basically underneath this flipped pivot, this one here. Basically that's your invalidation. I've got it slightly wider down to here. Doesn't really matter, because if this is now the bottom, if this pivot holds, it's above these lines, it's above the all-time low. That's a higher low. And if it holds, then you can have a really crazy lucrative trade. If we go up to about $30, 100x by next year, you'd have a 1 to 785 risk to reward ratio just on this trade here. So it's worth a risk. It's worth a little bit of a gamble. Take the trade. It's an easy trade to take. You could lose whatever you risk. Like if you risk $100 here, you can lose it if you get stopped out like that. But if we do end up holding and you don't get stopped out, that $100 could turn into $78,000 just by hitting 100x on this token in the peak of alt season next year. I would think that's within reach. 100x, yeah, why not? So I'm actually quite interested in this trade. You obviously wouldn't hold out for 100x. You'd probably be looking to take profit at this pivot here. So actually, the real trade depends. I mean, people can trade this how they want. If that is the low, we are putting in the low now on Slerf. That could be the low. Then just up to this pivot high here on this risk to reward, you're looking at a 1 to 1400. Sorry, 1 to 14. So you risk $100 and you can make $1,400. It's a really good risk to reward return on investment if we hold this low. And actually, you know, that could be your invalidation anyway. That's 1 to 29. So I'm quite bullish on Slerf at the moment, just because I see a lot of I see a little bit of exhaustion in the way the price is sold and has been selling. And actually the trade is this bump and run idea where we break this trend line and we come back into some support line and then we continue. And so even though I'm in a long now, which is risky to a degree because we're still into resistance, Bitcoin still hasn't found its strength, and it could, if Bitcoin pulls back, this could easily go down, very possible. But if Bitcoin holds its feet and we do break this trend line, then I'll be looking to add to my position, and then I'll be looking to tighten my invalidation a little bit, because then we've broken that line. We put in another back test, and that becomes your invalidation, your new invalidation, wherever that is, and I'll be looking to add to that trade for continuation. Probably you'd want to take profit at the golden pocket, to be honest with you. You wouldn't just hold out all the way to there. That wouldn't make any sense. You'd want to take profit at the golden pocket, wherever the golden pocket lands. So at the moment I've got it to there. It's not correct. It's to here. So it's from that pivot high to this pivot low at the moment. That's your golden pocket. It lines up perfectly with this weekly level. So, and also with this anchored VWAP. So I think there's quite a strong resistance area there. And so we may get into a situation where we do have some kind of breakout. Hopefully we go up, we find resistance, we get a pullback, and then we have to see what happens, you know, because then that will be about Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin then, after you do hit into resistance, whatever happens, you know, Bitcoin struggles, then again you could be trying to fall right back into the lows, and then we have to see how impulsive this is. Was this like a wave 1 of the wave 3? You know, we have to check that out. We have to see what the impulse is, or could this just be another ABC? So even though you'd probably be targeting on a bumper run, you'd be targeting up there, you wouldn't just be naive and not take profit as you come into a big resistance level like that. If this low holds, that's something to bear in mind. Okay. Let me just get rid of these for now. Let me do an updated volume range on this. Good morning, David. Oh, good. I like the multi-chain with TRVL, but I hate that there's so much supply, 1 billion. My personal strategy, I've stuck to either way says nothing more than 100 million units. RW narrative blowing up. I remember Rio, Leo, ALBTAK and XRA was the only names talking about tokenization. So when it comes to the 1 billion on TRVL, most of that's going into the foundation and into the community growth fund. Not much of it is vested to advisors and the team, and the vesting period is over a period of 5 years. So they're not really even going to get their tokens during the bull market. They're going to get it during the bear market. Most of those, the rest of those 700 million is going to be released during the bear market. If you think the bull market's only going to last about a year, most of those tokens are going to be released afterwards. I've been talking to them and telling them to make it more clear, because I think there's a little bit of confusion, because people aren't very clear about the why. And if you dig a little bit deeper, you realize that it's not that bearish after all, because most people who are investing now will probably be looking to take profit by next year, before that becomes a real problem. And the problem is dilution, isn't it? It's your token supply being inflated, your value being inflated. All right, let's go back to Slerf. You kind of want this volume area to come down. There's a little bit more volume here, a little bit higher volume node. If we can get above that high volume node, that would be really amazing. We need to put more volume in now. Right now, it's really important that we can put in more volume at this level. Yeah, you've got a really strong volume node there as well. You can see we are putting in volume. See that? Let me see how close we are to changing this value area. 75. 75 bring us down to here. Very close, sorry, to 80. Yeah, still far. We're still quite far away, unfortunately. Look, see, this is 90% of the volume. So we're within 90%. You see that? And we need to bring it down to 68% and to be within the value area. See, we change it back up to 68% and the value area is up there. So 68% of the volume, most of the volume is up there still. And actually what we need to do is we need to shift this point of control to the lows. Having a little bit of a pullback now on Slerf. We have a look at HTX as well and see what the volume area is like there. Oh, we put in a crap load of volume here. Look at that. We're close on HTX. See that? Let me do the same thing here. Go short to 80. No, it's still not enough. Still not enough. Okay. I can see a lot of spot being bought here on HTX. You see that? This isn't selling. This isn't spot market HTX. This is buying. Yeah. People aren't selling spot at the lows. They're buying. Now, obviously, the buyers have to sell. The buying has to buy something, so someone is selling. But for me, this looks like buying. And you still have this pivot here. And I don't really want to lose that pivot. For me, that would be... I think if we lose that pivot, I'll get bearish again. I'm quite bullish right now. I do like, you see, I like this 4-hour candle, this green candle. I like how it closed above this previous kind of inverse red hammer. I like how it closed above this previous wick. I like how the price is now above this previous wick, how it's come down like this. I really like this. How it's come back up here and it's holding here. And so as long as we hold support, I would be expecting something like that. That's what I'd be looking for. Something like that. As long as we hold that support line, I'll be looking for something like that. What I don't want to see on Slerf is again to start losing that and attacking the lows. I don't want the lows to be attacked again. And if you look at the previous price action, you see these wicks, they kind of did hold as resistance levels. And now this one, we're back above it. You see that? We're back above it. So whereas before you were losing those wicks and you're finding resistance, losing those wicks and you're finding resistance, here we lost the wick and we reclaimed the wick. Lost the wick, reclaimed the wick. For me, that's a change of behavior. Even though it doesn't look like a big difference, maybe people are probably looking at this and going, it looks the same to me, the way the price has moved down. And for all intents and purposes, it does look the same. But let me just hide these lines now. I'll do it on the Bybit chart just so that you see what I see. Go to the 2-hour time frame. What you can see after we kind of had this, we had this kind of head and shoulders pattern here. Kind of a break. Neckline was back tested. Yeah, back tested there. We came above here. We came above this previous line and we lost it. As soon as we lost it, the price dropped. Okay, so that was where it really began. That's where the price really started to free fall. After we reclaimed that support line and then lost it, losing a support line after reclaiming, it's quite bearish. And then, as you can see, as the price moved down, you're forming these kind of SR flips. Again, the price came above it. As soon as you lost it, it fell. Yeah, as soon as you reclaim a level that's strength, you lose it, that's weakness. It fell. Okay, it fell. And again, you had the same here, resistance. You came back down. You tried to reclaim it. And as soon as you lost it, it fell. That line there. Now, we're back above the line. We're holding the line again. So, in the same spirit, you don't want to lose this line again. This is the line. Same thing. If we were to lose it, you'd probably get another sell-off. Exactly the same behavior. But we're back above it. And actually, when I'm looking at the way the price has come back above it, whereas here we were up above it for basically maybe 2 candles, maybe 3. Here is slightly more, is up and down, but maybe 2 or 3, 4 candles here. You see here now we've been up a bit above it for much more, like 9 candles. Okay, so it's slightly different compared to the past. Excuse me. It's not the same. That's what I'm saying. It looks different. To me, it looks different. And I think it's good that we've broken this steeper line here. We've broken it. We've back tested it. We haven't managed to, we've lost that level, but now we're back above it. Almost. I kind of like that. I kind of like the way the price is forming here. I didn't really expect us to break this line and then now suddenly go up and up. Often when you break these bump lines, you still go down until you finally bottom out, and then you're trying to form some kind of bottoming pattern here, which is I feel like that's what's trying to happen. Now we still have to contend against this outer trend line. That's going to still be a problem, and we're going to have to get above it. And it's going to require strength to get above that line. And then we're going to have to hold a support line. I think it'll be really good if we can get back above this previous wick, get back above this outer trend line, back test it for support. You have a really nice trade, a bump and run on your hands then, if that was to happen. Zahid, hello. I looked at ASM coin yesterday. I think you should, I wouldn't bother with these football tokens, honestly. I think a waste of time. I don't know what you're thinking about. I had a look at it yesterday. I don't know what you want to say about it. They're rubbish. How's that? Here I am talking about Slerf and you're talking to me about ASM. I don't know. Yeah, the all-time low is down here. We haven't even taken the buy bit low. And when you look at HTX on Slerf, even though on CoinGecko it was reported that the all-time low was made, or we made a new all-time low. You see on HTX, you see the all-time low corresponds with this pivot low here. Okay, that's the all-time low that I'm considering. So unless we take out that low, I consider that we're potentially making a higher low all the way to, and there's a really good like risk to reward here, by the way, for people. And I think a lot of people are a bit nervous about Bitcoin, but you know, if you hold a higher low, if you hold a higher low, that's your trade. Take this as far as you want. Take it to the all-time high. There's a really good ROI on that trade. That's a 1 risk 1 and potentially earn 21. Risk 1,000, potentially get to 21,000 just on that trade. That's a really good ROI on this trade, just because of the location of where we're in. it's hard for people to buy because they're worried that it's going to make a low. That's why you only risk a certain percentage of your account. That's why you don't go all in. But you can make a good, healthy profit if that low holds. For safety, you wait for the trend line to break. Yeah, for safety. If people want to be a little bit safer, you just wait for this outer trend line to break. You'll end up a little bit higher up. Okay. But what I'm seeing now is potentially a bottoming formation. Potentially. We need to look at the I mean, I don't know if I think it's possible to go up like that and then have one more pullback into the halving. You know, I think that's possible. Just one more rally. Let's see, ABC, AB. No, maybe not. Otherwise you're going lower. No. So looking at the daily time frame, let me look at these candles for you. Let me hide these. So I don't mind that candle that formed yesterday, this red candle. I don't think it's that bearish, even though it's a bearish candle, because we closed above the previous day wick. We closed above that previous day. Okay, we took the liquidity. We closed above the previous day and the previous day. So we're still closing above support, even though we're taking liquidity from the lows. We're still closing higher. So I think that's okay. But you do want to see this formation complete. You don't just want to see it end with that one candle. What we need to happen now is we either need this to be a nice strong green candle pushing up, or we need like a doji with a following day for a green candle to come up. Like, you need that to happen. You can't just form this formation where it's showing a little bit of strength and then not continue. You need a continuation on that formation. When you look at the 3-day candle, it's actually still quite weak. Yeah, that's like a continuation candle. But you see it's increasing volume. So you're getting some increasing volume into the lows. And then when you look at the 12-day candle, 12-hour candle, you see how the 12-hour candle closed above the wick there. It still hasn't come above 50% of this previous candle. I can see that there's a little bit of change here in the way the candles are forming. If you look at this whole formation of this whole down move, you've got these long red candles followed by 2 green. There's 1 green there, 2 green, 2 green. This is the first candle, apart from up here, where you had a little bit of a buy up from the low. And then the difference is that here we've closed above this wick here, whereas here you didn't actually achieve that. This red wick, we weren't able to close back above it. This we were. There's a little bit of a change here. So I just want to see how this plays out. So that's why I'm in a little bit of a long. I'm in a long because it's a good place to long, and I'm in a long because I have an easy invalidation. Yeah, I just don't want to see the price fall back underneath this this level here. I'll rename it to SR flip. Okay, I'm not going to add to my position. I could be more aggressive and add. If I start seeing the price fall back underneath that, I'll start to take a loss. I'll be okay with that. Yeah, and that's the trade. And then if for some reason we lose that line and then we come back above, then I'll be looking to re-enter again. Okay, I'm not just gonna, I'm gonna see what the reactions are like. And you might take 1 loss or 2 losses, small losses, but eventually you end up with a crazy winner. Okay, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to end up with a crazy winner. At the moment it's still okay. It's still okay. And obviously this could always happen. You could always find resistance and head for another low, and you're just making lower lows and lower highs. Could always happen. Yeah. And actually, we're just trying to preempt the future, but nothing here changes until we can eventually take out this high to make a higher high. You know, that's what we really need to do. Take out that high and then come in to make a higher low, and then we're off to the races. That's what we need to do to change this downtrend. And we have to see how this plays out. Okay. It's looking a little bit weak now. Fortunately, why is that? Could it be Bitcoin? Yeah, it's Bitcoin. See? Bitcoin causes problems for these altcoins, but as long as the altcoins don't lose their support lines, then they're still good. But you see, that's quite a strong sell-off after you had such a nice kind of up move. It's a bit of a strong sell-off. These strong sell-offs get brought up quite nicely when they do, but here you can clearly see that we're trying to lose. The sentiment is still quite negative. It's not positive at the moment. I'm not really worried about these channels. I'm more concerned about this pivot here. This pivot for me is more interesting. The other thing I'm going to do here quickly is volume range. This is problematic. We've just come underneath the point of control here. Slightly problematic. Let me take the wider range. And take it all the way to this pivot here. It's slightly higher up. This one here. Zahid says rubbish will go if BTC goes up. Yeah, maybe that's true. It's unfortunate that we couldn't go up higher. Don't really know what to say because I wanted to go up badly. I'm just trying to see if I can find anything interesting. Like a hope. I want some hope. As long as we hold that line, I'm okay. Yeah, like I'm not gonna be bearish. This pivot here. I just want to hold that line. This nice pivot. And I want to see some more volume put into this lower range. Yeah. It's a really good place to pick up spot on this token. This isn't, whatever happens, this is not, people pick up spot here, they'll make money in the next year. It's not, you're not going to lose your money. If you pick up spot here, I don't see how we don't go back up. The question is whether we make an all-time low and we go up to the golden pocket to make a lower high, or whether we hold a higher low and we're off to the races, because then you're aiming for the higher high, the higher all-time high. That's the question. That is the question. Hold on, I've got this phone call. I've got to take it. Where did it go? Okay. You know, sometimes you want to make things go up, but you just have to follow the charts and see what the charts say. You can't just make things go up just because we have a little bit of a prejudice. Yeah, and so that's why you have to have these invalidations and levels, so that if the price does, if I start seeing the price, if I start losing this pivot, then I'm going to get a little bit bearish again. Okay, and you know, you might get into a situation where you lose and you just bounce off this value area low, you come back up. It may happen. And I think it's got everything to do with Bitcoin right now. I think it's a really good place to buy Slerf. See, this is coming back into support lines potentially. And actually the problem with Bitcoin right now is there's a little bit of bearish CBD going on here. And we just need this to kind of become bullish again. Lower highs, higher highs. See that? Higher highs on the CBD, lower highs on the price. Over this whole range, there's a little bit of bearish CBD going on. And we're underneath the daily open now. There's a bit of shorting happening here. A bit of shorting. Although it says the dominant order size is long, look. See, the CBD went up and the price has just dropped down. Look at that. Someone has longed and the price has gone down. What does that mean? That's not fun. Usually when you're long, your price is going up because you're pushing the price up. Someone's longing here. It's not short, it's a long, but the price is going down. Okay, it's coming back up again. It's weird though. Okay. I think that's Slerf. Got a little bit distracted, sorry. Come on, Slerf, show us some life. Don't be like that. Don't be miserable like that. Show us some love. The people should just buy. Buy. It looks like we're holding, huh? Look. There's a little bit of a channel forming here. It's right on the brink. Yeah, come on, buy. Who's everyone should be buying. Buy. Market buy. Push the price up. All right, that's Slerf. Let me have a look at some other things. You wanted me to look at ASM. I think it's a shitcoin. Personally, I wouldn't waste my money on it. For many reasons. Okay. And the main reason I wouldn't bother with Slerf, the main reason, Slerf, apologies, ASM, is that it's a very niche market, and it doesn't, like, I'm not going to buy ASM. Even if I thought it was bullish, I wouldn't buy it because I'm not interested in these football tokens. So it's got a very limited market. That's the problem. So how far can it really go? Well, it could get quite far because you're talking about an illiquid market. And when people buy, they're just going to buy. You're absolutely right. When Bitcoin goes up, rubbish tokens do go up. You had a lot of selling here. And then you had a bit of buying here. And then you've got a lot of selling here. I think this is a gamble. Like, that's what I would view it as, more of a gamble. You couldn't trade this. You're just gambling, basically. Most of the volume is at the lows here. You're into the value area high, so it's not a good place to buy right now. You need to buy on support. You don't buy into resistance, but this whole thing is an accumulation range. The range is from top to bottom. It's about 80% up and down. Assuming that we're just going to consolidate for a little bit. I mean, are you assuming that it's going to go up or we're going to consolidate? I don't know. It's very hard to do technical analysis. There's literally no volume. You look at the volume profile of this whole range, there's no volume. There's got a bit of volume here and you've got a bit of volume there, but the rest is just empty. Yeah. So I really think it's a waste of time and money, personally. So I can't really give you any kind of indication as to whether it's good or bad. And you may get into a situation where the price will go up 1x or 2x. And actually it's going to be a lot more than 1x or 2x, because look, if anyone entered in at the low here in this point of control, if the price gets up to $1.50, they're already 8x up on their value. And because it's a very illiquid token, and if someone takes profit as the price comes up, you're going to get this. It's going to look really bearish when that happens. Yeah. So what's the question, how you have to ask yourself is, what's the incentive for people to hodl when you get people who've entered lower? Like if someone entered at someone caught the price down here, they're already 10x. Of course they're going to take profit. Of course. 10x. If you're up 10x, you're going to take profit. So, and it's not very liquid. That's the problem. So, I don't know. I would avoid it personally. It's up 14%, sure, but you can't really trade that because it's very illiquid. You'd have to scale in small amounts over a long period of time, and then what you'd have to do is you'd have to set limit orders at key levels. So if you do get a pump, you'll take your profit as the price goes up. You don't have to sell at market, which is going to push the price down. But at the moment, what I'm seeing is a little bit of a consolidation range, an accumulation range. It could go up, but then it will probably come back down. All right. There's no value in this token. I've been looking at TRVL. So we're into that area of interest that I have in mind, which is the back test of the golden pocket, the back test of this Gann line. On the daily time frame, it looks like we've lost it. Okay. Unfortunately, we are into a very important area of interest now. Yeah, this is an area of interest. This is a very critical area. We're also into the local golden pocket from this pivot to this pivot. You see that? So the local golden pocket is holding a support at the moment. We've fallen back underneath this higher time. These higher time frame levels, you really have to consider them on higher time frame candles, but you know, it was never going to be easy, you know, like this is the thing. And the hardest part about all of this is that Bitcoin is driving the market. The price decline is no reflection over the bullishness of TRVL or the sentiment, because it's a low volume decline. Yeah, it's not a high volume decline, it's a low volume decline. And that's got everything to do with Bitcoin. And really what's happening is that people are just waiting for Bitcoin to find strength. Once they see that Bitcoin is strong again, people are gonna start buy at market, and it's gonna push the price up. That's how people are. They're not looking to sip the dip with limit orders. They're waiting for Bitcoin to find strength, and then they start market buying and start pumping. That's what happens. Okay, so it's hard because if you're limiting in, it feels like you're buying into weakness, but you're just, you know, it means you don't have to chase the pump when the pump begins. Eventually the pump is going to happen, and then you don't have to chase it trying to fill your bags, pushing the price up 20% away from your entry, because you've already filled your bags. And so the best technique or strategy is to just dollar cost average in. It's just to keep on accumulating, especially on these red days or red candles, or potentially we're going to have a red week. Yeah, and you know, these red candles are good places to accumulate. If you look at this higher time frame weekly chart, you'll see that every single red weekly close was a good buy, and on average you'll still be up in profit if you kept on buying those red weeks. It's not a bad strategy. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of a pullback. This has got everything to do with Bitcoin, but we haven't lost our ideas yet. We haven't lost this lower trend line yet. And you know, if we can hold these levels of support as we come into lower levels or lower prices, if we can hold these levels, then actually the structure that we're creating is not bad for continuation. Like I don't mind red candles as long as the price continues to go up, because eventually those red candles become order blocks and they become support levels if the price was to come back down to test. Yeah, and so I don't necessarily mind those red candles. Are we going to see a red month? And where is that red month going to close? Or are we just seeing a little bit pullback before the Bitcoin halving, and then you're going to end up with a really nice wick on top of a green candle? Like, you have to think to the future about how these candles are forming to see what needs to happen for them to become what they could become in the future. Yeah, I mean, this 2-week candle hasn't completed yet. It completes in 1.5 days. It looks bearish, huh? It looks pretty bearish, but it's not that bearish in the sense that is that all the bears had? Like, the bears really struggled, huh? They were struggling to push the price down. That's what I get from, in the next 2 days, we're going to have two weekly candles that are red. Yeah, and the volume hasn't been bad, and that's it. They've only managed to push the price down so far. Yeah, so it just tells you, okay, the bears are selling or people are selling, but it also tells you that people are buying. Yeah, that's what it tells me. Even though it looks bearish, that's the bear's attempt, and then maybe the next 2 weeks you get a nice push up now. Yeah, the first one is usually to take profit. The second candle after a pivot is usually the bear's attempt to push the price down, and then you get the bulls. It's their go. Then the bulls have their go. Okay, and so that's kind of what I'm seeing in these 2 weekly candles. You had the take profit candle, then you had the bear's taking control. And if we only manage, if the bears only manage to only take us down thus far into this wick, then potentially I would argue that it's a pretty poor attempt, and I'll be looking to see what the bulls can do after that. And that's kind of how I'm thinking about this. When you look at the weekly candles, yeah, I mean, it's looking really bearish. Yeah. However, this weekly candle ends up, but all we're experiencing is a low volume drop. You see that, a low volume drop on the back of Bitcoin's correction, falling back into like higher time frame levels, whether it's the previous wicks or if you go back in history and find, you know, we're just coming back into liquidity. Yeah. Now, because it's a low volume token, it's hard to find those levels on point, and so the best ones are going to be your fib levels and your high volume nodes. They're the best ones. Okay. And so if I zoom in a little bit, you know, slightly lower would be a little bit more powerful as we come into this volume area here. See that? That's at around 6.2 cents. I'm not saying it's going down to 6.2 cents. I'm just saying that those are your better levels for finding strength. And then the other levels that are really good for finding strength are fib levels. So at the moment, we're into the local golden pocket. The price could easily reverse here. Could easily reverse if Bitcoin finds its feet. It's a good price, though. TRVL at 7.1. For a minute ago it was at 12 cents. So, you know, have we lost the bottom of this channel? I don't know. It's so illiquid. It looks like it. But does that mean it's going down? I don't know. I'm still not bearish on this, simply because of the context, and it looks like we're just trying to form a higher low for continuations. We're just trying to find a higher low. That's what it looks like to me. At the moment, it does, and we just so this is the first sign of weakness that I've seen in a while. This is losing this high volume node. Okay. And naturally, what I always say is the minute you lose these kind of places, let's try and get it back quickly. You know, let's try and reclaim those levels. Let's not dwindle in the lows for too long. Let's try and kind of get back up. That would require buying. But obviously people are a little bit hesitant because of Bitcoin. It's the real problem right now. People are waiting for Bitcoin to find some strength, and eventually it will. So it's a good time to buy. And I see a lot of altcoins are coming into areas of support. You can already see, look, the prices, it feels like it's bottoming out. I've seen this kind of pattern on TRVL before. It feels like it's bottoming out. Feels like it. And then hopefully you'll get another push up, and that will just be a deviation from the lower prices. Hopefully that's what I'm thinking could happen. And if you were to go back and look at the past, historically, you could find similar behavior. Let me have a look. Something like that. So it kind of rolls around a little bit. This is similar, except you get a little bit of a drop down and then it pushes up. But I mean, here when you go to the current price action, see, this is a little bit of a rounding bottom as well. Now, does that mean, doesn't mean we're going to rally? it could just be a correction before for continuation. I'm not saying this is the bottom, but you can see something similar is happening here. There's some kind of rounding going on. So let's just see how this plays out. It's quite interesting because on TRVL, on the Twitter, we had a really bullish news yesterday. I don't know if people follow the Twitter, but you should. And let me have a look at it for you guys, just to this is quite interesting. Look, they launched this flat. Nice flat. Why is it called Nice Flat? Nice Flat just solo just launched a new vacation rental site with a beachfront holiday home in Venice, Italy. Look at that. Book direct. How amazing. And look how many retweets we got. 25 retweets, 141 likes, 29 comments. Let me have a look at these comments. It's quite interesting. Grand Michel, TRVL. I can like some of these. What is this rubbish? This project needs to do more to become known in the deep in space. I don't hear you mentioned much in deep in circles, conferences. I love the TRVL team. TRVL, keep growing stronger. TRVL is the best. Get ready for the moon. Well, buy. Why horse? Everyone's tweeting, but they're not buying. Buy, 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 buy. I like all these. There's a lot of comments here, man. Wow. Going all in on TRVL. I'm going to repost that one. It's LFG. Why not? So that was quite good. Look at that. Look at that. Just on that one post. And when you look at when you're looking at the properties and you're looking at what's coming onto the Dtravel network, yeah. Let me click on it. Look at that. I looked at it yesterday actually, so I already knew what I was thinking about. Look at where you're going to be. Yeah. So you can rent this flat out now in Dtravel. This apartment. Look where you're going to be. In the Adriatic Sea by Venice. Okay, that's quite nice. Look at that's Venice. Somewhere there. And then look at the pictures of the flat. I mean, it's cute. It requires a taste. you have to enjoy that taste. But look at that. This is amazing. It's nice, isn't it? Just solo. Don't know about the other pictures. I don't really care. They don't know why they put ducks in their pictures. That's your view. Look, you can see the sea from the kitchen, from the living room. Look. Bunk beds. That's the building. And you have your private little kind of sunbed area. And then here, you go back to Dtravel, and this is their update. Did anyone see that update? Look how many retweets and comments and stuff they get. Dtravel's getting a lot of activity now. Never used to get so much. Getting a lot of activity. But here, this is the big news. We're aiming to launch our Traveler app MVP in the next 2 weeks. As a refresher, the Traveler app will allow anyone to search for Dtravel powered listings and later house our implementation of Sensei AI travel staking and growth program. So the app's being released in 2 weeks time. Look at this one. we've got some exciting partnerships announcements lined up for Sensei AI. Teaser. The dev team is actively building Sensei AI tech into some of our favorite projects. So this is like, I don't know what's going on here, but the feeling that I get that, like, when you're trying to read between the lines, I'm getting the information that I'm getting from this is that it looks like they're partnering with other AI projects, other AIs. That's what it looks like, because it's all about AI. Partnership announcements lined up for our AI. So that could be quite good. It'd be interesting to see who Dtravel are partnering with, which other AI projects they're partnering with, and how that's going to affect or impact the growth of the project, and then later on the growth of the value of the token. That's really interesting. Look. Of course, TRVL is the best. Look at these people. I've never seen this before. This is really amazing. Get ready for the moon with TRVL. I agree. Amazing. Can't not retweet that. All right. So we just have to be patient, I think, on Bitcoin. I think that's the problem right now. Bitcoin is causing problems for most of the markets. Let's have a look at Bitcoin. Little bit of pullback. Just kind of in a range right now. The range is above this value area here. It's just range bound, ranging. It's kind of slowed down a lot, huh? It's very slow. All right. Any thoughts? Any questions? Anyone? Come on, Slerf, go to the moon. Oh, so annoying, Slerf. Okay, good. A little bit of strength. Perfect. That's what I want to see. Solana pulled back yesterday, huh? A little bit of a pullback. And it's bought up immediately. Yeah. All the way down to $168. And actually what we need is ETH BTC to show strength. And it's not what we're getting right now with ETH BTC. That's really what the problem is. Like, it's not really even about Bitcoin. It's about ETH. ETH has come back into this kind of lower, this previous range value area low. It's bounced. We haven't taken the liquidity from this low. Yeah, it's nothing really to say. It's just trying to find support. It's looking very weak, to be honest with you. So I don't know how it's going to behave in as Bitcoin halves, but as long as you don't lose these pivots as support, you're okay. The minute you lose them, it's not going to look good because you're into this kind of black empty area. You see that? And then you've got this kind of these green candles that are there. The volume there hasn't been filled yet. So the minute you lose this pivot here, you're going down. If you lose the pivot, you have to get back up ASAP. You have to come back up really quickly. Otherwise you end up finding resistance and you're just going to get a big sell-off. And that's what the chart will look like. It'll look like that. You'll end up with a chart looking like that. Back into the point of control. That's where you're going to find support. And then maybe you'll go up. Okay, and then that would complete whatever's forming here. And then, you know, that wouldn't look good though, because for altcoins you need ETH to be strong, but right now it's not looking crazy strong. At the moment it's not looking strong. You wouldn't sell here, you'd buy, but you also wouldn't just buy into weakness. You're looking to buy into strength. And so right now you've lost these like levels of interest on ETH, and you kind of want to buy when you start reclaiming levels. That's the kind of that's the clue for reclaiming levels, would be the clue. You wouldn't just buy bounces into support because you'd have to take profit quite quickly. What you're looking for is the price just kind of get back up there, you know. It's what you want. And once you get back up there, you back test it as support. You have a really nice invalidation. Then you're looking for the next level, and then you're looking for higher. Yeah, you wouldn't just buy into that because it's very likely that at either some lower level you find resistance, or even if you go up, you could just come back down and just back test higher levels of resistance to come back down. And that's why you have to wait for some kind of SR flip to give you confirmation for some kind of entry. But this is ETH BTC. I only analyze this because I'm looking at the wider altcoin market. When ETH BTC is strong, altcoins are strong too. You want ETH BTC to be strong. You want BTC to be weak. That's what you want. And not really seeing weakness right now. That's the problem. What we need is for this BTCD to do this now. That's what we need. Yeah. That being said, USDTD doesn't look strong. We've come into the value area. We've come into the golden pocket. We've clearly found resistance, and hopefully we're going to go down to the low of this range at the very least. It is forming a little bit of a triangle formation here. Okay. So hopefully we'll get one more rally on BTC. And maybe this triangle is going to kind of form like probably that. That's probably what will happen with Bitcoin. When I'm looking at this, I'm thinking about it. It is possible that Bitcoin does the same thing but in reverse. Okay. Maybe what we will get is this, actually. Breakout to fake out to fake out to break out. Probably. With Bitcoin, that's probably what's going to happen. Bitcoin is a bit mental like that. Let's get rid of all of this stuff. Actually, I'll just keep it because you never know. Breakout. You've basically got two triangles in play right now. You've got this higher time. You've got this higher triangle within this smaller triangle within the higher time frame triangle. You've got like two triangles in play right now. Okay. And I think what would be possible, it'd be good if we could get breakout. To break down. To go up. That would be really good. It will destroy the alts one more time, but it will give the alts time to rally before they dump again. And then obviously you could always hold this as support. That could always happen too. So it doesn't have to go down. It could, and then the other you could always get situations where you do go up, take out the liquidity, and just head right back down. You always get that. That could always happen. So you have to be aware of that too. The same thing with the lows. Although I think this would be a really good level to take liquidity if we land in that area somewhere on the 14th or so of April. Take out the liquidity there, come and back test this bottom of this triangle to go up. That would be okay too. I do think we should go up now. All right. I think we should go up now because a lot of altcoins are in their support zones. And also because I want Slerf to go up. There, it looks like it's holding, huh? Look at that. It's trying to hold support. See that? Slerf is trying to hold support, and let's go right back up to the top of that channel. That'd be nice, or at least to the midpoint here. All right, guys. So if there's anything else. Quanks is so strong though. Quanks. Look how far it got. It got up to 9.4 cents. Wow. I wish TRVL would be as strong as Quanks. Look at that. Amazing. Should have gone all in. They're so strong, and then I don't understand it. And TRVL needs to be stronger. Have a good day, guys. I'm gonna